Hello and welcome to GMBN Tech. Coming up on the show this week, we take a look at potentially the lightest dropper post on the market.
And we take a look at a super lightweight XC rotor.
Ooh, and there's a couple of 90s throwbacks from two different companies.
And Yeti is getting back into downhill racing. Yes, welcome to the show.
Yes,
sorry,
welcome
Anna, am I
indeed.
allowed to say that? It's your show.
Well, I mean, you've been on it twice now. It's practically yours
It's practically
as well.
mine now.
They like
Wicked,
you.
another
they
show.
Like you.
Another
Although
show.
they did like Rich quite a lot.
Did
as
they?
well.
Yeah,
Maybe a
but
little
Rich is
bit
hard not to like.
more. Yeah.
He's
yeah.
so happy. He's like a cocker spaniel.
That's not always likeable.
Yeah,
but
well,
anyway.
you know, the rich version is, Anna, the rich version is.
Speaking of riches, though.
Can I talk about this Yeti downhill comeback?
Yes, you can.
Because I'm quite excited about it.
Are you really?
Yeah, we've been looking into it a little bit. And
yeah.
I mean, back in the early 90s, this is probably why I'm so excited. You might remember the RKS, which was their downhill bike that was winning everything, or doing very well at least.
Yeah.
Back then it had 1.5 inches of elastomer travel.
Yeah,
Ooh.
well, yeah, it was like a soft tail in the rear, and the forks were 1.5 inches, which is 40 mils of travel.
That's not travel.
I mean, when people were saying that gravel bikes are like 90s mountain bikes,
they were right. They were right. It's not. That's not travel. That's not even a distance worth measuring.
I mean, it was helping them. It was obviously making them quick, though, wasn't it?
You might even remember jamming Jimmy Deaton, who set the mountain biking speed record on a Yeti.
Yeah, 59.5 miles per hour. Can you imagine doing that?
I did that last week on my bowhead down a hill in Margam Park. I'm sure I did.
That's true, no, but it was the 90s. That was definitely fast.
But he had, check this out, he had a 66 tooth chainring on.
Yeah, funny, actually, Doddy had Miles Rockwell's like a similar arc so that he could do the
Kamikaze, of course,
DH,
which he won beating Jason McCroy, I think it might have been, actually.
No way!
Yeah, I think he might have been Jason McCroy and Miles Rockwell in the final. I don't know, I might have my years wrong. Let me know in the comments down below if I got it right.
Know.
I probably got it wrong, to be honest.
They'll know, yeah. So, I mean, basically, we're exploring some of Yeti's downhill history here. So they've worked with people like Mert Lawwell, who you know. I had no idea who this guy is.
Can I stop you there,
can
Anna?
go on.
Mert Lawwell, okay, one of my favourite, and anyone of my generation, old, right?
Yeah.
Mert Lawwell is one of the star riders on a film called On Any Sunday.
Right.
I mean, it is a seminal motorcycling film, and Mert Lawwell was one of the most incredible riders on that. He raced every type of motorcycle. And yeah, he helped design suspension for Yeti. He also designs prosthetics for people to ride motorbikes when they've got limbs missing and stuff.
Is he like
Amazing
the you
guy.
of the motorcycle world? Like chain spotting and, you know, all that
You just
sort of-
put me up. You just put me up through ranks I have no business being in. But I'm very grateful.
Well,
No, I'm
anyway,
not.
so he worked with Yeti to develop suspension. He made some groundbreaking changes to suspension back in the day, back in the mid-90s. And then by 2002, they stepped out of the sort of XC-looking hardtails, moved up into 8 inches of travel.
Whoa, here we go.
Which is 200 mils, which is what we're used to seeing now, and more of a silhouette of a downhill bike that we're used to. And then, of course, there was the 303 RDH, which they brought out in 2009. And we've been watching some old footage of some World Cup wins by Sam Blenkinsop.
And Gwyn was on that
Gwyn
bike.
was on
Yes,
Yeti as well
yeah.
back in the day. They brought out their 25th anniversary, they brought out like an anniversary edition of that 303, and it was like turquoise and yellow, as you would expect. Yeah. And that was in 2010, and that was the last time we saw him bring out a downhill bike. Until today.
And now they're back, and we really don't know why. Wait, okay, we do know why. Richie Rude wants to race downhill again.
He does, that's
which is
it.
great.
And what Richie wants...
Yeah, Richie gets. Why not? He's amazing. And if he goes back into downhill, we're going to see him up against Sam Hill. Yeah. Amazing. Who's going to do best out of those two? If he does some World Cups,
I know, some old school
are they
names.
making this bike just literally because Richie Rude, I like the idea of that, make me a bike, or are they going to try and sell this thing? Which isn't easy, because I think last year Specialized sold half a downhill bike, maybe a quarter. I don't know. I'm exaggerating, but
We've
not
not
many.
fact-checked this.
No.
But okay, so Roots Run Deep is a video that's come out about Richie Rude and Yeti and his time with them. It's been about 12 years, I think, from memory. And in that, he talks about downhill because that's where he came from. He used to race downhill, moved to EWS. He's been racing enduro for the last 10 years, and is suddenly thinking, well, actually, I want a bit of downhill again. I want that mindset. I want to see what I can do. And Yeti were like, well, we better build him a bike. So, so they've been working on prototypes, and their aim is apparently to just make the fastest downhill bike for Richie Rude, specifically for him. And check this out on screen. This is the project that they've been working on. Looks to be a high pivot. And they've adapted their Sixfinity, which they've used in the 160E, which is their EMTB, where you can effectively move the shock position and get yourself different leverage curves, so you can have either a more supportive ride or a plusher ride. So Richie's going to be able to potentially adapt this downhill bike to whatever course he wants. And yeah.
It's interesting.
I think I'm excited.
I'm excited, but I do wonder. I mean, Cannondale had a go at this. Oh, let's get back into downhill.
Okay, yeah, go on.
You know, and that wasn't something that they could really sustain. Whether they really meant to sustain it anyway, it was just a project. I don't know. They're not going to ever tell us.
Yeah.
But I find this really amazing because to do this is very expensive, very expensive, and
yes.
the reward, even if you win races with it, it's not a great payback because you're not going to sell many of them. You're really not. So it's a really interesting move.
Because I think that history of Yeti is what shaped their all-mountain enduro trail bikes of today. And although they left downhill behind, that is their legacy, is in the bikes we're riding every day. So I think that those projects are going to further develop what we've already got. And seeing Richie ride that bike is surely going to transfer over into...
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited. But I'm confused, and I wonder. just on a last note on Yeti. When I say Yeti, who do you think of?
Well, I think of Richie Rude because that's my generation.
You think Richie Rude? I've got Missy Jo, piranha around her neck, just little beads and all sorts.
Looking all cool.
Looking gnarly.
Yeah, I know. Well, should we ask these guys what they think? What do you think? Do you want to see a Yeti downhill bike in the market? Would you actually buy that? Is downhill dead? I don't know. Are you just excited to see Richie do some downhill in? I know I am. So let us know down in the comments below. So a company called Vertical have released a dropper post called the Helium, and as its name suggests, well, they claim it to be the lightest dropper post on the market. So have a look at this. Now, basically, the main tube is made from carbon. It's just how they keep their weight down. The rest of it is just 7075 T6 aluminium with some titanium bolts for the saddle. It'll come in 3.9 or 31.6, and so the smallest, being at 60 mils of travel, is 304 grams. So that is flyweight, and it will go up to 90 mils of travel. So the extra large in its heaviest guise of 31.6 will be 357 grams, so still pretty flyweight, and that will be selling at 399 euros.
Galfa have added a new 160mm disc to their Disc Shark range.
Disc Shark.
And look at this, you can see why it's called Disc Shark. Look at those teeth on the inner ring of it. It's the smallest disc, means they're lightest in the range, Rexy, and it's got 104 grams weight. 1.8 millimeters thick steel with high carbon content, and the shark fins for dissipating heat and cutting your fingers clean off if you were to stick them in there.
Savage, don't they?
Yeah, it promises the same power as the 180mm, but with less weight. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think that's 74 euros, I think it was, for the 6-bolt. But moving on to the Canyon, they're releasing a retro 90s gravel bike. It's all rewind. This show, isn't it? It's all rewind. So Canyon say that when people were saying that gravel bikes are just mountain bikes from the 90s, well, they thought it was a pretty good inspiration to go and do a retro bike. So they've brought out this. This is the Grizzle CF SL7 throwback with the 90s razzmatazz paint job, a pink anodized stem front cap, a chrome handlebar, and check out those brush special edition aluminium DT Swiss wheels. I'm into them.
Yes.
Brushed aluminium.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Bring
I
it
like
back.
the bike. I like the bike, and I want to pair it with these Crank Brothers stamp pedals. Look at those.
Yeah,
These are
would
one-off retro edition Stamp 7s. Splatter effect has been added, and it's. But these pink, yellow, blue pedals are totally one-off.
Yeah, there's only one in existence.
But one pedal or one pair?
One set.
Oh, one set. I was going to say that would have been crazy otherwise.
Yeah.
But they look like the sort of thing we could make ourselves.
I might give it a go.
With your paint, with your, you know,
I've
you're
got
basically.
some spray paint in here somewhere.
Yeah, you're
I think.
basically somebody who decals bikes these days.
Oh, I'm an artist now. Yeah, that's what I had. So speaking of some artists, so Trinity have started taking orders of their beautiful Gravity team bikes. So we've been following these guys for a while. The engineer is Mick Williams of Williams Racing Products, and we've been watching this handmade Gravity bike. You're having a look at it over
so
here.
Nice.
Especially with them mucking around with sort of gearboxes and internal, trying to change up the sort of gear scenario for downhill. And they've hit the market. So we've got the Gravity frame. It's now finished. It's got the 6061 alloy rear, steel front, 160 to 200 mils of rear travel, 180 to 200 of front travel. They all come in mixed wheel sizes. However, the T3 and T4, they're offering in 29 for the larger riders. Drivetrain can be standard or pinion, and you're looking at 9,000 Australian dollars for the frame only without shock. But there's only 1 to 25 to order at the moment.
It's a lovely looking thing though. Propane have released some new kids bikes, 16-inch bikes called the Barney. How'd you like that? Come in raw and bad mint, and you can add some accessory colours to personalise it somewhat. But great to see. Aren't kids' bikes good these days?
They're so good, yeah. Anyway, look at this. We've got some shoes sent in. This is unparalleled shoes. So we've got some high tops here for trail. And we've got some sort of lower downhill ones here. So this is the Dust Up. And that one you're holding there is the West Ridge. And basically, unparalleled shoes, if you've never heard of them, these were started up by Sang Lee, who was one of the originals in 510.
Wow.
And I think there was a bit of a debate as to whether the 510 grippy soles was actually patented, and I don't think it was. So we now have some alternatives to 510s, which is unparalleled.
Do you want me to tell you a really awful story about 510 shoes?
I don't know.
I'm literally in my wheelchair now because of them.
No.
Yes, I literally
because they
crashed.
were too grippy.
I couldn't get my feet off the pedals and I crashed.
Do you really
I don't blame them. No, I don't blame them. That is just why I crashed. It's not their fault. It was definitely my fault.
Oh my God.
But that, so
you
you
heard
don't
it here
want
first.
lots of grip all the time. You want some options. But I literally couldn't get my feet off the pedals.
No, 510 are famously grippy. Like I tried to ride in them before, and you do actually get jammed in.
You certainly
These
do.
ones, they look like sort of proper pin holes, don't they?
Yeah.
So these got a firm midsole, and apparently, they're more sort of downhill. They say that both of them have a higher durometer RH rubber compound for the outer, which just basically means they're softer on the outside, and they have vibration damping on the inside or the centre of the rubber. So
Nice looking shoes, and I tell you what, they feel
sturdy.
Yeah, they feel burly. I feel like I could take it.
I'm into it. Yeah. All right, it's comments from you lovely people. And last week I was talking about sustainability in the mountain bike world.
Yeah.
So what have people got to say, Martyn?
First comment from Ziggy MTB. Schwalbe is collecting worn out tyres of all brands and are working on a formula to get the new tyres to a level which is the same quality every time.
I didn't know this.
No, I didn't
so
know that.
they're trying to recycle tyres. I hope that works out, because there is a lot of waste when it comes to tyres.
Certainly is.
So Jameson Roberts says, I bought a pole because of their stance on sustainability. He's trying to move away from carbon, and his bike is virtually carbon fiber free, except for the SRAM XX derailleur, which has some carbon in it. He said he was simply not aware of any other derailleur, a smooth shifting that wasn't carbon. Shimano XT, come on, just because it's not top of the range XTR, it's still smooth, trust me.
I just realised then that I would definitely have bought an XTR.
Yeah, you probably would have, and that's got a carbon cover.
Gulliver says, sustainability by Shimano, smaller cardboard boxes. I think that's a suggestion. Also, sustainability by Shimano, riveted chain rings to cues. Crankset so that you can't replace just the chainring.
Yeah, so he's commenting on the hypocrisy of here that Shimano are trying to be greener by sending all their brake pads in small boxes, but then they won't allow you to change a chainring on the new cues. But Gulliver, that is the case for the 9-speed U4000 or whatever model, which is like a square taper, which frankly I think is quite old and will wear out anyway, and you'd need to replace the crank eventually anyway. But the other Q's models, the 10s and 11s, you can change the chainring on. So they're doing all right.
People still buying square taper?
I guess it's for anyone who's got an old bike, then at least they're giving you an option to keep running your bike as well, I guess, rather than
one more comment.
Throwing it away.
One more from
go
Sean Fanning. Pedro's has been making great plant-based biodegradable lubes and cleaning products for years.
Yeah.
I know someone else who does that.
Yeah, fair enough. Who?
PEs.
They do.
They do. They're all over it, aren't they?
Yeah, we've actually
got
a lot of comments in the comments actually about how PTs and Muck-Off and sealant brands are really like taking note of the environment now, and that is a really good move. I've also got one more here from one Big Mac 69 who said, Cycle Dog. They take inner tubes and make dog equipment out of it, like collars and toys and stuff. That's brilliant. I looked at that. It's actually pretty cool. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, we haven't done one of these for a while, but we've done a lot of retro stuff today, so let's have a rewind.
Let's do it.
Yeah?
This one is from Dennis.
Yes.
Rocky Mountain from 1991.
Yeah, so he's in the Netherlands. Basically, he was a big fan of the Yeti Ultimate, a bit of a Yeti theme by accident here. He did only send this in this month, but he's also a big fan of Rocky Mountain. So he set up an eBay search for the Rocky Mountain Cirrus, and as you can see, it's definitely got Yeti Ultimate vibes, hasn't it?
It really has. It's got an amp research fork on there, which was something of a luxury back in the day.
The F1, which he stripped down and repainted to make it look nice and fresh. He said he's set up this search for 4 years to get one in his size. That's how long he's been waiting for this. Shimano 900 series there, loads of photos. I really appreciate that. He said there's a couple of things that aren't to date. There's some Avid brakes and Crossmax wheels that are not period correct, really, but he loves the look of them, so that's what he's going to run. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I know where he's going with the wheels there, because they are very cool and they're very standout. But it's a great build. I love it. I love seeing these retro bikes being built, and so many people out there are doing such great builds.
I know.
So cool.
And that he's bought one in his size because he actually wants to ride it. That thing's not on display. And that's what I love.
That's the way. Use them. Put them out there, use them.
Yeah, you know what? We haven't done many rewinds lately, so do send us in. If you've got any retro kit, retro bikes, retro parts, actually, I want to see some tech, maybe some clothing, then do send them into our uploader, which I'll put down on the screen. But I think that's enough of us, isn't it?
It is. Should we end it on a subscribe, of course, comment, of course, give us a like, but should we do a 90s high five to finish?
I'll have that. Oh, I almost missed there. Join the debate in the comments below about Yeti getting back into downhill, and we'll see you again next week.